Hello, and welcome back to the garbage that is me. My name is Milad Solari, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel, where I'm still not really sure what the content's going to be on here. But it's probably something like this video or the last. Fun fact before we get into this is my second time recording, because the first time I did it, I looked dead, and I hope I don't do again. Now, I know the world is pretty shitty right now, or has always been, but I'm going to do what I do best, which is to ignore it until it all comes crashing down onto me. So the other day I was thinking about some videos I had planned, and some of them included or were about anime. Now before I go any further, in case you've forgotten, I like anime quite a bit. It's kind of a problem. And it made me start thinking about what started me on this path of sin. Was it because of my friends who also strayed away from the path of the Lord? Was it my natural loneliness being a small fat foreign boy that prompted me to find an outlet? Or was it some outside force like destiny that brought us together? Actually, it was none of those. The second one maybe, but not that much. No, you see, it was because of this programming block I watched as a kid that was basically the root cause for me being exposed to this medium. Now, if you piece together what I just said, or if you cheated and looked at the title of the video, you will now realize this video is about Toonami, and specifically my appreciation towards it. So now in future videos, if I ever talk or show anything about anime, you'll know who corrupted me. Now, for those of you who don't know what Toonami is, it was a programming block on Cartoon Network that was primarily aimed at showcasing action-oriented cartoons. It was co-founded by former creative director Sean Atkins and his friend Jason DeMarco. First aired March 17, 1997, and it featured both American cartoons and, would you guess it, Japanese anime. This made Toonami unique because it was one of the first programs to really expose Western audiences to anime on a mainstream platform. At the time, most people got their anime by either purchasing the DVD sets or by pirating them. Both these options were quite difficult for a child to use. That's where Toonami comes in. Now, while some shows like Pokemon, Digimon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Were a part of the Saturday Morning Cartoons Club, other shows like Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, One Piece, Naruto, and Inuyasha that weren't exactly PG or G and were a tad bit violent were put onto Toonami. This became a safe and easy way for kids, and even some adults, to be introduced to and watch anime. And man, were they the sickest shows out there for a kid who hasn't seen the capabilities of animation or the human imagination. Another aspect that made Toonami so appealing was that it featured a fictional character as a host. The first person to host Toonami was the villain from Space Ghost, Moltar. Yeah, you remember Space Ghost, I remember Space Ghost, we all remember Space Ghost around here. He hosted the program from its beginnings until July 10th, 1999. It was then decided beforehand that after Moltar, Toonami wouldn't be using another character from another show, but instead would be creating their own original character to host the block instead. And with that decision, Moltar was then replaced by an advanced AI known as the Toonami Operations Module, or TOM, who still hosts the show to this day. The popularity of Toonami and its hosts even spawned an interactive series which featured his new friend, Sarah. These total immersion events, or ties, usually featured Tom and Sarah going on some sort of adventure together. These were cool because they added a hidden lore behind these characters who we thought just introduced shows to us and made us connect with them a bit. Sometimes they'll even get a model update during these events, either as an upgrade or because they were destroyed, that they would show off on future broadcasts. Now, for the most part, these updates stayed mostly the same to the original model. You know, except for that one version. Ew, stop looking at me, stop looking at me, stop! There are other things that Toonami did that made it so cool, but I'll get to them later. Now, with the way that I've been talking about it, you may be thinking, wow, this Toonami thing must have been doing great, right? But the unfortunate reality was that Toonami's viewership and ratings started declining in the mid-2000s. The staff would try to keep it alive by shortening the block and what time it's going to air at, but unfortunately, Toonami was cancelled. and it aired for the last time on September 20th, 2008. A little over 11 years after its first broadcast, it would be ending with one final monologue from Tom. A sad ending, I know. With that, the Toonami block, characters, and even name went silent for about 4 years. Until a miracle happened, involving our friends over at Adult Swim. On April 1st, 2012, alongside their annual showing of The Room, Adult Swim would show their weekly scheduled broadcasting of Bleach, but to the surprise of many, Tom came out and introduced the shows for the night in Toonami-like fashion. After Adult Swim ended, they went to their Twitter and asked if anybody wanted to see a revival of Toonami on Adult Swim. They even had a hashtag #BringBackToonami for people to use. And if you can guess it, there were a lot of people who showed support for this. On May 16th of the same year, Adult Swim would announce that Toonami would be coming back on the 26th as a part of their late night action block. And unlike how it went when they tried to reboot the Bionicles, this was a success. Now this was a very beneficial move for both Adult Swim and Toonami. In the case of Toonami, it wasn't just the fact that they were being revived, but that the environment that they were coming to was already set up for them. Adult Swim is also a part of Cartoon Network, and have even been showcasing anime as early as 2001, so viewers of Adult Swim were already familiar with this medium. And since Adult Swim was meant for more adult shows, Toonami was now finally able to showcase more mature shows that they couldn't before. The way Adult Swim benefited from this was that fans of Toonami would now flock to their program, increasing their viewership and ratings. They also didn't have to change much aside from adding Tom, Sarah, and the ship, as they were already basically doing the same thing. This was also very cool for people who watched Toonami as a kid, because now they kind of grew up with it and are watching shows that are more appropriate for their age. The only issue here is that Adult Swim is a late night programming block, so if you didn't want to stay up till 2 AM to watch Trigun, then you're a bit out of luck. Fortunately, Adult Swim was always like this, so it's not like people didn't know this going in. Whew. Now that was a bit of a long backstory about Toonami and where it is today. But that's supposed to give you an idea of what it was like for fans of the show. And it's not like Toonami was ungrateful for their dedicated fan base, because if they were, they wouldn't have made the tie events or featured other versions of Tom from time to time. These are things that only veteran viewers of Toonami would know about, so it didn't really make sense to just show them off to new viewers, expecting them to draw them in. Probably some of the best ways Toonami gave back to the audience was just giving them some encouraging words. Another thing that Toonami did that was pretty cool was that during these blocks there would usually be a monologue from the host. And they were always in one way or the other inspirational to not just the kids watching, but even some of the adults coming back for nostalgia. I can still remember when I first heard the Dream speech from 2016, and how that in a way encouraged me to make this channel. These weren't just the typical inspirational stuff too. Sometimes they would be tackling hard stuff like how life may not go your way. They even had a Black Lives Matter monologue where they talk about how representation is in and is needed in the anime you watch. Remember when I said I was going to ignore all the things happening in the world for this video? Well, just like how Toonami can't, I couldn't either. And that's probably why at the end of the day I can say that I like and I'm even grateful towards Toonami. Nowadays I don't really watch dubbed anime, and even if I would, I don't think I'll be staying up late to see them, especially if there are more convenient ways of watching them. So I don't really have a reason to watch Toonami anymore. But I can't help think about how much Toonami has done for me and the plenty of other people watching it. Because it's more than just some cartoons. It's a lesson. So, thank you, Toonami. In a way, you've helped me more with my morals and my personal issues than school ever did. And man, do I wish that was a joke. With that, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. I really appreciate that. Also, sorry this video took so long to come out. It was a little harder for me to make than I expected. I was having a lot of issues, which ended up with me at one point opening up my whole ass computer because my IQ is 2. Hopefully with the release of this video, things will be getting back on track and things will be coming out quicker and not once a month. If you enjoyed the video, maybe think about liking or subscribing, maybe even sharing to a friend. I would appreciate that. Would also like to hear about what you guys thought of the video, and maybe some ideas for future content. You can do that in the comment section down below. One last thing before I go, I recently hit affiliate on Twitch, so if you want to see clips like this, listen, I'm just looking for love. Why would I kill those I love? Yeah! We did it! We did it! We fucking did it! Yeah! Let's go! Then you can follow me at twitch.tv/MiladSolari. I'll leave a link to that and other socials in the description. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Yeah, you remember Space Ghost. I definitely remember Space Ghost. We all remember Space Ghost. We totally remember Space Ghost. What the fuck was that? That's stupid. Fuck.